My name is Nicholas Castillo, and I'll be portraying the role of Black Stache in this production of Peter and the Starcatcher. Outside of this production, I'm currently starting my senior year at Temple University, and I work and play games in my meantime, but this is the aspect of my life that I focus the most on, being theater.
My name is Josh Pelican, and I'm playing Peter.
Lovely weather we're having. What are you?
What do I do outside of this production? I work at a seafood restaurant part-time. I play a lot of guitar. I also like to paint and watch movies and play a lot of video games. Just normal stuff, I guess.
You'll want to swallow that down quick. Going uppity.
Any good?
It's alive!
It's worms!
It's fed me worms!
I won't eat that.
My name is Jade Eisenacher, and I'll be playing Prentice, one of the Lost Boys in this production.
Who's the leader here?
Who wants to know?
Molly Astor. Dr. Pretorius back home says I have an extraordinarily high level of brain power.
If you're so smart, how come you're stuck here on this dirt bucket?
I'm not stuck. I'm meeting my father in Bruntoon. He has important things to do.
We have important things to do.
No, we don't.
I'm the leader and I say we got some things.
What drew me to the show was that I myself had read the book in 4th grade, and a couple years past I had seen it was a play, and I was like, I think I've seen this before. And I ended up seeing one of my best friends play in it at a local theater. I was like, wow, this is really a cool story, and as a lover of Disney, it's really cool to see characters that you grew up with and love and see a different perspective of how they got there and more of how they think. So when I was looking for shows to participate in this summer and I saw this, I was like, all right, let's give it a go. I've heard a lot of good things about this theater and I would really like to be in it, so it's fun. Since starting with Milburn Stone, I've just been surprised with the professionalism of each thing that is incorporated in the production. Everyone has a job and they stick to it so well that it really speeds up the process and makes it fun to really understand where you fall in a show.
Wait a minute, it doesn't matter how old you are, I'm still the leader. And the leader has to be a boy.
Why do I do theater in my spare time? I think that at like the core of my being is art. I'm an artist. My mother was an artist, and I have never really wanted to give that up, and I've really wanted to do acting and theater my whole life. It's really like the only dream I've ever had, and it's really just a place to just escape reality and be someone else and do something else. Not, it's a sort of fantastical take on life, and I like to be a part of that anytime I can, because it's sort of like I'm constantly living 2 different lives, and one day I want to be the best actor in the world.
I choose to do theater in my spare time because, like all of us, I would say we'd like to have maybe a somewhat mini escape from reality, but also with that escape you come with a realization that these shows or plays, musicals that have some aspect that actually clings them to reality itself or that we have. So whether it be a lesson we learn or characters we see and acknowledge in ourselves, or seeing another and acknowledging their struggles, that we now can relate it to our own world.
Oh my, is that the Queen's trunk you're sitting on?
Oh, yeah, Queen's trunk. Totally. Molly Astor told me to protect it.
From who?
From pirates like you.
Oh, but we have all the fun.
Community theater is really special to me because it's one of those things that people don't really have to do if they don't want to do. It is people that are either really dedicated to theater or that really like a show that want to come together and create this really special thing.
What makes the community theater so special to me is anyone can act. but not really anyone can get the opportunities to act or do theater. And I went to college for theater and acting, and that was, you know, all students, and, you know, people who were, I guess, around couldn't really be a part of it unless they were students. And with community theater, I mean, you see the show, there's people of all ages, people in school, people not in school. It's just all types of people, and like I said, it gives people those opportunities that maybe if you've never acted before, you do community theater, you know, your first show, and you really like it and you want to keep doing it. I did 2 high school plays when I was in high school, and then the 3rd play I did was a community theater. And it was a completely different audience, a completely different atmosphere, tone, because there's a lot more freedoms you can do with community. And that, it was also my first dramatic role. And I guess that's why it's so special to me, like in the sense of the word special, is that it was my first sort of serious role in acting I've ever done, and it's just held that place in my life ever since.
Shades of nasty mule! Look at this filth!
Don't hit me, sir. Cesspit's dirty work.
A mule, afraid of his own shadow. Be a man!
Working on this production has been very different from every other production I've been, and I think a lot of that comes from I haven't really lived here for that long. I'm kind of very new in town, so to speak. Like as soon as I came here, I actually auditioned for Wizard of Oz. I ended up not doing that because I'm not really a singer, and that's a musical. But this production, like I said, I just met all these people. I'm not familiar with the area at all, and so it's this story about, you know, Peter, you know, my character, you know, growing up and sort of like finding himself amongst all these new people he's never seen before. And that's kind of like, weirdly enough, what it's like for me being in this area in Cecil County, where like I'm sort of, I don't know, spending my time here, meeting all these new people I've never seen before, and kind of, I guess in a way, growing.
So working on this production has been very interesting. The role of Stache is a very larger-than-life character, as I would like to say. He's all over the place, vocally and physically, I feel. So taking some of those natural aspects that I have, which is always talking a lot, that you'll see probably in this, and putting it into this character has allowed me to bring a lot of myself to it, while also bringing other aspects that I didn't even know existed to the role.
There's a few of us that can't be a leader now.
Why not?
There's only 2 of us.
Jump! Come on, Temple, jump
I
together!
was thinking maybe we could wait for slightly better weather.
Someone should come to this show because it really just takes you back into when you were a kid yourself. It is lively and it's fun.
I say, sweet, you did inform my lord that I am a bloodthirsty outlaw, yes?
I said, but he still wouldn't give up the key.
Oh, we haven't got all night. People will pay for parking and nannies. Stand aside. I'll have to do it myself. Or I'm not. What am I?
I would have to say the biggest thing that drew me to this show is I love villains. It's what I get casted a lot with, and they're just a lot of fun sometimes. Portraying other roles here in the past, but Stache specifically is one of those bad guys that is so much fun to play with. And being the show that it is, and also John being the director that he is, and I know the great job that he'll do, I was able to be like, these 2 things are gonna match perfectly. Let's have a good show then.
Someone should come to this show because it's a very good story that really just kind of expands on a story that everyone knows. You know, everybody knows Peter Pan. And before I started doing this show, I knew that it was sort of about Peter Pan. I just didn't really know anything else about it. But then I come to find out that it's completely different. Like it's really, because it's a prequel. And so it's really nothing like the story that everyone knows. And also it's a very good kind of coming of age story. But not just for Peter. So Peter, you know, the boy, he grows up and, you know, you see a boy growing up and, you know, finding himself outside of, you know, the crappy life that he's always lived. And then you have Molly, who is also basically doing the same thing, where she's lived in, you know, high privilege, and she meets these raggedy orphans, and she sort of realizes that life is not really all that she's thought it was previously. And so, you know, that's why people should come see it, is that it'll probably ring true to everyone who comes and sees it.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming out on this stormy night.
What really makes the show so special is the innocence of it. You get to feel part of the show as you're watching it. And it's just a great thing to be able to remember how important each moment is. And it makes you understand that you shouldn't take things for granted, because a lot of the characters in this show don't have all the privileges that everyone would like. Everyone has a disadvantage in the show, and it really shows you that you should take every day and cherish it.
Why should someone come to the show? Well, why not? It is. Yep. Why should someone come to this show? Well, the show's just very. It's not your normal theater show. The cool thing about this is it is not so much we have to make sure props are perfectly on point, costumes, setting and everything. It's a show where, while it looks very bare bones on stage and what we do, it's very well written and well constructed that you forget about that, and you're so involved with the show and involved in seeing how these characters came to be who they are and who we know now. So I would have to say that just being able to take you away to another time with another story is why people should come see it. The story is, at the roots of it, I would say a coming of age story. It shows how we have such a normal life and normal people in going through these extravagant events of going aboard a ship, being a castaway, falling off of this ship, having this one pirate looking for an obsessed hero to finally be able to call his own, and this boy who had no name at first, had nothing to him, gets all these things not given to him, but he works towards them and makes who he is and who we know as Peter Pan.
What resonates with people is going to be that you can, anywhere you go, at any chance, you can find people and meet people who are going to just completely change your life for the better, for the most part, and that it's what you think you are, what you think your life is defined by is not always true, because, like I said, you will end up on a pirate ship in the middle of the ocean, and it will crash, and you'll meet magical people, and you know, so to speak. And I think that's what people can take away.
To me, this story means the importance of being present in each moment. You don't want to get lost in specifically one goal of trying to find who you are, because it is each day and each moment that makes you the person you are. So stay present and enjoy each moment for what it is.
Oh, the waves, they swallow me up like a shrouded sea, and the sharks start nibbling away like mother's kisses. Mother, you left me on the steps of a tattoo parlor and a Huffington bag of fish.
For me, and this may sound difficult if you can keep up with my words, that will probably not come out correctly at all, but for me, it's it's a reminder of where we came from or who we are. We all know what we're doing currently, maybe we all know what we're striving towards and what we're currently doing, but how we got there and what originally made us to be that person, such as who Peter Pan is and who Captain Hook is, where they started, where they came from, and how they came to be about is so just as important as who they are that we know now.
Honestly, what people are going to take from the show is the fun nature of it and being able to be part of such a fun childhood story and understand the characters that we all grew up loving.
I would say for someone who has never seen this story told before that, first of all, come see it, why not? It's the origin of a show that we know, or a movie that we know and love from Disney that is whether iconic with just our main character or our main villains. Like, we both know, I think we all know them to this day and age, but just that it's a more lighthearted take on it, even before. It's much more wittier, much more satirical in some points, and it is jokes for all ages, and some may fly over some kids' heads, you'll notice, and some will stick with the kids only, and it's just, it hits everyone, pretty much, that's why.
This, Peter and the Starcatcher, especially, is probably going to be the show that I will look back on for the rest of my life. And it's going to be like, it's already an unforgettable, production experience for me, and it's going to be for the rest of my life, where I'm going to look and say like, wow, like, remember when I was Peter and the Starcatcher? And that's because, like I said, I just moved here recently, and it was really hard moving out here. I didn't know anyone. I came and just kind of, it was a shot in the dark coming here, and because the last show I did was a year ago, over a year ago, and I've been out of the acting and theater business for over a year, and I had a very, I guess, boring life between that show and this show, and I came out here and I didn't realize that there was so much opportunities for actors in the Maryland, Delaware, Pennsylvania area, and I was actually out in Northeast looking for jobs because that's what you do when you go to a new place. And I was just walking door to door with a folder full of resumes, just begging for jobs. And this one lady, it was like this jewelry store, this like woman's jewelry store. And she's like, you don't really seem like the type of person who would like want to work here. And I'm like, I need a job, like I need something. And she looked at my resume and she's like, I noticed that you studied theater at a university. Are you familiar with the Cecil College? I'm like, not really, no. And she's like, well, like you just go right up the road and like turn right and it's there, and they do shows all the time. I'm like, okay. I didn't really expect much. I'm like, community college theater, cool, like I might as well go check it out. And I came here and like first of all I saw the campus, and it was like super nice. Like it was like the nicest community college I've ever seen. And like I saw the billboard out there with all the shows that are going on, and I was like, okay, this might be cool, I guess. And I walked in and I went right up there, and I was like, can I talk to somebody important? Like somebody who knows what they're doing? And yeah, there's a guy sitting right over there, and it was Andrew Mitchell, and he's I guess the artistic director. Yeah, the artistic director. And I had a conversation with him. He gave me one of those little brochures right there with all the shows, and he's like, yeah, it's completely open. You don't have to be a student. Come and audition whenever you want, or whenever we have audition dates. Obviously not whenever I want, but, and I was like, okay, cool. And like I said, I auditioned for Wizard of Oz, but it wasn't really my thing, so I didn't do it. But this one I saw, I was like, okay, this is Peter and the Starcatcher. I looked it up, I Googled it. It wasn't a musical. I'm like, right on, not a musical. I need to do a play. I need to act in something just to, get my fix, because it's, like I said, it's my passion. It's the center of my being. It's what I've always wanted to do. It's what I want to do for the rest of my life. And it's been sort of like a parallel with, working in this kitchen and being in this play have sort of, it's a lot like Peter leaving, the orphanage and going out to sea, a completely new adventure environment for him. And like I said, it's for me, it's an unforgettable story, and that, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming out on this stormy night for our featured bout. In this corner, direct from Slough by way of Despond with the intimacy issues and the flaggy knickers, it's no mother's son and no man's pal, Bill the Rat Bastard Slash! And in this corner, sporting his famous flavor saber since the tender age of 10, it's the most fearsome pirate on the pike. All hands on deck for the Black Stache. This is a one-round knockout match. Spinning, kicking, gouging, and kicking is preferred. Hitting below the belt is not required, though the fans tend to like it.